Am I socially awkward? A question I've been asking myself since the trending of socially awkward was going about like 2-3 years ago. Now, of course, naturally, I never classed myself as being socially awkward because I was always in a social environment, whether it was at friends or in the pub or in college. So I never classed myself as being socially awkward because I was all surrounded by people that I knew and got along with. And of course the environment was very much the same. But then I decided the other day to go off and Google it. Am I socially awkward? And then I came across this great article, linked down below, named 6 Signs That You Are Socially Awkward and How to Fix Them. So then I went off and read the article. And I read the article and I started thinking about what was written in the article. And then I just realised that everything written in this article really deems to me personally, after reading and my opinion only, that social awkwardness doesn't exist and that it's all inside your own head. Now, I agree and disagree with this statement even though it's my own, but it's strange. So anyway, I'm just going to go and read the points that I actually took from the headings of these sections. So I'm just going to get my laptop here and I'm not going to be looking at the camera directly, but I'll try to. So these 6 points actually make you determine whether or not you are socially awkward. So point number 1, feeling nervous in social settings. Now, personally for me, feeling nervous in a social setting is a common thing for everyone. You're not always going to be straight out confident when you go into a new social environment. This could be in a new area, a new pub, a new club. You're always going to be nervous until you actually start to get comfortable with this social setting that you're in and that you start to get to know people. And personally for me, that's what being nervous in a social setting is pretty normal for everyone. You could be the most outgoing type of person and still be nervous in a new social environment because you may not know anyone. And then until you get to know someone, then that nervousness will slowly ease away and you become comfortable with your social setting again. And in the article I said I didn't really understand where the person was coming from on that point, but it's something that happens to everyone. I won't say it happens to, to say that it happens to everyone is wrong, but to say it happens to the majority of people would be pretty right. And point number 2 was not understanding social norms. Now this one I really can't identify with because not knowing your social norms is part of point 1. Because you're in a new social environment, how are you supposed to know what the social norms are of that environment? Ideally, if everyone is taking their jackets off, it's because the area is warm and you should probably follow suit unless you want serious sweat stains. But other than that, I don't really understand this point, so I don't want to stick around on it. Maybe some people do identify with this point and not understand the social norms, but for me, I don't understand it because it's all about reading your situation that you're in or the social setting that you're in. And if you're not able to read your social setting that you're in, you need to take a step back and focus really hard on reading that social setting. Point number 3, and we all already know this point, and this is making your first impression, because your first impression will last a lifetime. Now generally you can have a second chance at making a first impression, but usually if your first impression is a bit off the first time round, you're going to be labelled for quite some time. But point number 3 actually is often having a different impact than intended, and this is obviously your first impression of a person or on a group. So if your first impression on a group isn't all that good, well, you know. But in saying that, I wouldn't really worry too much about your first impressions, because your first impression could be really, really bad, but then there could be someone saying to another person saying, oh, they're just nervous because this is a new social setting. And yeah, I wouldn't really worry too much about first impressions. I've made some pretty shitty first impressions with people. I've actually made really bad impressions with my best friends the first time I met them, and they're still my friends to this day. So it's all good. Point number 4, lack of conversation flow. This is one of these things that happens sometimes, and it happens to me actually, I won't even say sometimes, it happens to me a lot. I have a very vast interest in things. Now, some of the things I'm interested, a lot of people are not interested. So when it comes to sport, I can't BS sport. Because I don't watch it and I don't play it, I can't BS it with someone in the pub. But I did have, a couple of months ago, have someone ask me about the game that was on television. Which I went to them and said, yeah, which game? Because there was 2 on. And I actually saw both games, and one was good and one wasn't too good. So when I was asked did I watch the game, I just turned and asked the person, well, which one? Next thing there was an awkward silence, and the guy just walked away. And I was kind of turning back to my brother or to one of my brother's friends. I kind of went, did I say something wrong? Because there was 2 games on, and I know the person was only trying to have a conversation, but I didn't know what match he was going to be referring to. There was 2 on, and I just wanted to know. And yeah, that was kind of awkward, and the conversation flow just stopped there, and he walked away. Now again, this also happens quite regularly as well. I mean, conversations do die out, and they slowly kind of drift away, and you just have to find a new topic to talk about. But it does happen quite regularly, and I wouldn't really worry too much about it because it's not really socially awkward. The silence is awkward when there's just a long silence, but other than that, I wouldn't class this as being socially awkward or a point to be socially awkward because it happens to everyone. Point number 5. Frequently being avoided or ridiculed by others. What? How? What? What? That's bullying! If you're being avoided by people, they obviously don't like you. And if you're getting ridiculed by people, they're bullying you. Get the hell out of there! Go find somewhere else. You don't want people to dislike you and talk crap about you. Or bully you for that matter. I mean, that's not being socially awkward. That's just people being assholes. Point number 5, go away. And point number 6, the lack of meaningful connections with others. Probably the only point that I actually can associate with to a T. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean I'm socially awkward or that you're socially awkward because you can't get a connection with a person or persons in the social environment that you're in. It just means you have no interest in that person or what they're doing or what they're talking about, and you have no interest in talking to that person or getting to know that person. I mean, that's pretty normal. I wouldn't worry about it too much. I mean, 5 people in a pub and I'm the 6th person, at least 4 of them I have no interest in talking to because I don't have anything to talk about and I have no interest in what they have to say. This doesn't make me an asshole and it doesn't make them an asshole. It just means you have just no interest in knowing them. I mean, I don't see how that's being socially awkward. That's just you being slightly a bit picky. That's me being picky. But hey, you know, that's what it is. I mean, if you can't get a connection with someone because they disagree with you or you disagree with them, it happens. It happens. And I wouldn't even class that being part of the social awkwardness. Another thing I got from the article was basically saying that socially awkwardness doesn't exist. But that was just me reading into it and that's just my opinion. Because I feel everything in this article, which is, again, a link down below if you want to read it, a general knowledge to people who go out to different areas, different locations. Everyone feels nervous in a new social setting. It's uncontrollable. Even if you're the most confident person, you're going to feel nervous at some point in your life, whether it's starting a new job, whether it's going for a job interview. I personally know myself when I'm in a new social set, I am very, very quiet. I'm a very, very quiet person. I don't really talk, I don't really mix with people until I start to get to know them. But that doesn't necessarily make me socially awkward. It just means I'm just nervous around these people because I want to make a good first impression, which usually means that I make a bad first impression. See, point 1 and point 3. That's 2. Point 3. In conclusion to this video, am I socially awkward? Probably am. But do I class myself as being socially awkward? No. Why? Because I don't want to be socially awkward. In new social settings, I'm nervous and I do try my best not to make a bad first impression. Generally, I do end up making a bad first impression. But hey, look, that's just life. That's how we get on. If you are socially awkward and you find it difficult talking to people like I do sometimes find it easy to pick up a conversation that I've overheard in the pub or in an area and then say to them, well, you know, I actually think you're wrong, but not be ignorant about it. Just be polite about it and have your say, and if you're then asked for more of your opinion, you're in. Alright guys, so if you like this video, hit the like button down there somewhere, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you have anything I should have stated or you disagree with everything I just said in this video, comment down below, I don't really mind. Also, I have linked the article that I was reading down below, so if you want to check that out and get your own opinion, that's perfectly fine. I got the opinion from this article that socially awkwardness doesn't really fully exist. It's all inside your own head, which is technically true, but yeah, I'm going to end this video because it's ridiculously long. On that note, I'll see you all on the flip side.